Ba bow bow banger management fantasy hockey podcast. Woo!
Woo!
Japan, woo!
Whoa, I heard a little something there.
I was gonna say Japanese and then I just went with Japan and it sounded weird.
Okay, fair enough. But welcome into Banger Management, the fantasy hockey podcast with Kevin and Josh once again, while Jakey is still in Japan pursuing his karaoke career that I just heard is going really well.
Yeah.
So we might never get him back. I wonder if Jake is actually listening to these episodes and has no idea what's going on. But if you're listening to this, ping Jake in the Discord or leave some comments on our Instagram or wherever and be like, proud of you, Jakey, for pursuing your dreams, and I hope the karaoke career works out. He'll be so confused. It'll actually be hilarious.
That would be amazing.
But welcome into our Week 12 Buy Low, Sell High, Trade Target episode. This is my favorite episode to record. We say it every week. Listen, we are trade addicts. We need to go to TA. Oh, wait. TAA. Trade Addicts Anonymous.
No, I don't think it's just TA. Because it's not like AAA.
Trade Anonymous?
Traders Anonymous.
No, but it's Alcoholics Anonymous.
I guess because it's in one word, yeah.
So
okay, fine.
TAA. I think TAA
okay,
is the term.
TAA.
So we just made it up. You guys are all part of the TAA group now. So whether you like it
Hi
or
everyone,
not.
I'm Josh, and I'm a trade addict.
Josh is the biggest trade addict I've ever met in my entire life. Josh will ruin relationships for trades. That's what he's willing to do just to get a good trade happen.
There's such a rush from pulling off a trade. It doesn't even have to be the
trade could be bad, guys. I'm putting it out there. Like Josh, there's a lot of trades that Josh has been saved from himself because he's too addicted to trading. There's a lot of trades that I think we look back and we're like, we were trying to make a trade happen with a manager, and then they're like, they don't want to make it happen. And then you look back a month from now, and it would have been a huge L for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember almost trying to trade. This was like a month and a half ago. I was trying to trade like Erik Karlsson for Victor Hedman. And I was giving Erik Karlsson plus. And this was when Hedman was really bad and just got bumped off. And now he's hurt for months. And if that trade goes through, my team is in a lot worse spot. So
100%.
Sometimes we just need to be saved from ourselves. But a lot of times,
I was sending like a trade offer to someone, and he was like, I don't know, whatever. And then I scrolled up in our like text chat, and it was just a bunch of screenshots of trade offers I sent him over the year. And I looked at every single one, and I was like, dude, every single one of these trades I sent you this year would have been a huge win for you.
Yeah, honestly, that's a great selling tactic. It's been like, this is
it didn't work, but still.
Look, I almost messed up my whole season. You still have the chance to do that for me.
Yeah,
take these guys off my
absolutely
roster.
Yeah, but let's get into the spiel, of course. I don't know if
of course. But listen, guys, if you're not already following us on all the social media platforms, Insta, TikTok, everywhere else, make sure you drop us a follow. You'll be following our content. We're posting a lot on YouTube. All the podcast episodes that you're listening to on Spotify or Apple or wherever else. First of all, drop us a follow there so you're notified every time the new episodes come out. Leave us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. That actually really does mean a lot. It helps us reach new listeners as well, which is really cool. The community is growing. But yeah, all the episodes that you're listening to are actually video episodes on YouTube as well. And in the new year, we're going to try to up our YouTube game, have some cool overlays and stuff. So you can look forward to that. But in the meantime, you just have to be content with looking at Josh and I's face. And then maybe Jakey will be back in the new year. We'll see. But no, he will definitely be back because he sucks at karaoke. And so yeah, leave a comment on YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Join the Discord. The link is everywhere. Once again, if you have trouble finding it,
look
leave us a
behind
comment
you. The link
somewhere.
is probably there.
Yes, look behind you. Look under your seat. The link is there. But the Discord community is growing. It's really fun. I feel like I give a spiel every episode, but it's definitely worth it. Join if you're not already in there, and you'll have a lot of fun. And yeah, so let's get into the 2 weeks update, and then we're going to get into 3 buy low opportunities for you and 3 sell high opportunities for you that Josh and I highlighted. But listen, let's see how our picks from 2 weeks ago went.
Okay, I'm gonna start this off, preface this by saying that I think this is the best buy low 2 weeks ago update that we've ever had, and we've had some really good ones. But this is like immediate return on investment. Like, you made the trade when we told you to, and you're laughing. So let's dive into who we recommended.
Also, little tidbit: we got our first comment on TikTok about somebody being like, "Preface? Did you mean preface, and like it's just we're getting to the point now where like we're hitting the mainstream media, and people don't understand our inside jokes, and we're gonna get roasted for them. So that's really fun.
But once they become fans, they'll realize that it's intentional. So
You
it's
guys
all
are all
good.
in on it now.
Exactly. I love having inside jokes with the viewers. It's great. That's actually that was actually a highlight from our first year when we were really small.
Yeah.
And I was making the weekly Reddit posts like with the streamers and all that. And someone commented like I had recommended like Jackson Lacombe, and someone commented like, "Did you know he used to be a forward?" You know, and I was like, "Oh my god,
a forward."
Exactly.
Jackson Lacombe, the Jackson
The
Lacombe.
former forward, yeah, exactly. And that was one of our classic jokes from last season. So it's great seeing people getting into it. I love it. But yeah, let's get into this 2 weeks ago update. Our buy lows were Tim Stützle. Since then, 6 games played, 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points. You cannot ask for a more immediate turnaround. When I recommended him 2 weeks ago, he was at 0.7 points per game on the past month. The power play wasn't clicking, nothing was going right, and then he just absolutely blew up, and we called it. Like this is why you listen to this episode, and this is why you go out and target the guys we tell you to. So this was a massive, massive win. Then we had Zach Hyman. Since then, 7 games played, 6 goals, 2 assists, 8 points. Another explosion. He was doing so poorly when we recommended him 2 weeks ago. This is another one. If you pulled that off, you're laughing. The one thing with being so successful with these 2 weeks ago update is that the window closed so fast. So I hope people were able to pull it off. And lastly, we had Rasmus Dahlin. Since then, 5 games played, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. I mean, these stats speak for themselves for all 3 of these guys. These were like the most immediate, like you had like this span of time from when we released our episode to like snipe these lows. But if you did, you're immediately rewarded.
It's actually crazy. So listen, we're gonna go through some targets today, and it might feel a little ambiguous for you because you're like, this guy's doing so well on my roster, but then you're able to flip him for this massive talent that is underperforming that you might see, you know, the dividends pay immediately. Like we were telling you guys to sell like Rasmus Anderson, Darren Radish for Rasmus Dahlin, and that was a feasible target at the time 2 weeks ago. Obviously, like looking back, you're like, oh man, how did that ever get done? But fantasy is played in weekly increments, and every week is kind of like its own little like vacuum of value, and that's why
like
you're
a
able
microcosm, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, dang. All right, we're getting scientific here. But if you were able to make moves like that, like you're laughing now. Like when we wanted you guys to buy Zach Hyman, you could have sold guys like Velarde, Bertuzzi, who we've highlighted since then. Like with no Bedard is much worse. And if you were able to trade guys like that, like it's just incredible what you could have done.
Yeah. Let's get to who our sell highs were from 2 weeks ago. These are a bit more ambiguous, but actually still big wins. So we had Jason Robertson. Since then, 7 games played, 4 goals, 2 assists, 6 points. Now, let me say, first of all, he put up a 3-point game last night. If he hadn't done that, before that, it was 3 points in 6 games. So that would have looked a lot nicer. But regardless, under point per game, when we recommended him 2 weeks ago, he was at like almost 2 points per game.
He was at
points.
He was at 1.67 points over the last month, 2 weeks ago when we recommended this. Yeah, 6-7. Josh is in the 6-7 for everybody that's on YouTube or not on YouTube. And he was at 0.6 power play points, and he was averaging almost 4 shots a game. This was 2 weeks ago, and that was his monthly stats.
Yeah. And now he's under, in the past 2 weeks since we recommended him, under a point per game. And the power play is way lower, and it's just... Look, what we had said it at the time. I was never saying that he's going to become a pumpkin, and like is a guy. He wasn't one of those guys that like get off your roster. It was just the value was there, and you could take advantage. So I hope everyone did.
We told people to sell for Austin Matthews, David Pastrnak. Like
that's it. We weren't telling
plus.
people to target low. We were telling people to aim for like top 5 picks in the draft, and it was doable. So it's I really hope people pulled that.
Josh traded Robertson for Matthews 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I know people might see that and think like, oh, Matthews is washed, like he sucks. Like the not all the buy lows kick off right away. You know, they're not all like from our the ones we just mentioned 2 weeks ago. You know, some of them take some time, but it's still a great win. Okay, then we had John Carlson. Since then, 4 games played, 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points, only 1 power play point. I know this looks like it's like, oh, he's keeping it up and all that, but he still doesn't have power play 1. And he's still overperforming. So sometimes the sell highs, you know, again, they don't immediately. The window doesn't immediately close. If anything, sell him high, just like we recommended 2 weeks ago.
The fact that he's still not on PP1, it just goes to show that this is like still somebody that I really want to ship off my roster as soon as possible. This is not going to hold up.
Absolutely. And then we had Jesper Wallstedt. Since then, only played 3 games. He had 2 wins, .907 save percentage, and 2.73 goals against average. But he's playing every 3rd game now. When we recommended him, it was a clear tandem back and forth. He had 4 shutouts in 6 games.
4
Now
shutouts
it's
in
like-
6 games, guys. 4 shutouts in 6 games.
Yeah.
I think he
And
was
we
the
were
talk of the town.
recommending-
Everybody was talking about him as
Yeah.
the best goalie in fantasy now, blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely. And we were recommending some really high targets.
Yep.
So now that he's playing every 3rd game, I think it's going to be a lot harder to try and sell high on him because even
The
though the
volume's just not
quality,
there.
that's it, the quality is still there. Minnesota's an unbelievable team. The goalies are really good. But if you're playing every 3rd game, like, you're barely rosterable. Honestly, like 1 start a week max. On a 2-game week, you could get 0 starts. That's not someone I'm super happy to have. So I really hope people sold high on him when they had the chance.
Yep. And if you were listening to our episode, like we said 2 weeks ago, some of the targets we highlighted, like you could have got Vasilevsky, you could have got Hellebuck, who was still hurt at the time, right? And
Yeah.
then he came back, like snap the fingers. It was
Yeah.
like he's skating. He's back tonight, actually.
Yeah.
So that was really surprising. And if you're able to pull that off, like, you're laughing. So
Yeah.
it always feels bad in the moment. Like, you're holding a guy, you just picked him up off waivers. He got 4 shutouts in 6 games. You're like, oh my God, I just picked up like the league-winning goalie. Do I even want Hellebuck at this point? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, it
exactly.
sounds so crazy to say after the fact, but when you're
Yeah.
in the moment, it's really hard. But you just gotta trust your gut and look at the numbers and trust the process, guys. Always trust the
Yeah.
process. These always work out.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I have like a little Excel model that I built for fantasy hockey, and it just pulls the season averages. And every time I make a trade, my team gets worse in my model. My model hates me. And that's because
Yeah.
when you buy low and sell high, you're trading for guys who had worse averages than
Yeah.
the ones you're selling. But over time, in the future, it's going to end up being the opposite. So it is funny saying that I built a model that hates me, but it kind of feels that way sometimes.
Josh is
Anyways.
always complaining about his model. He's like, oh, my model has me losing every category this week. And then somehow he wins every category every week. So then you're like, maybe you should change the model, Josh. I don't know.
I'd rather expect to lose and then win than expect to win and then lose.
Yeah, but then when you expect to lose and then lose, you're like, what am I even doing here? You know? Actually, that means the model's working, maybe. So
Yeah, exactly. It's a win-win regardless.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into our buy lows for this week. I'll get us started off with Clayton Keller of the Utah Mammoth. So, over the past month, Keller's averaging 0.75 points per game, 0.25 power play points, and 3 shots. This is slightly lower than his season average, but last year he is at 1.11 points per game, 0.46 power play points, and 2.7 shots. So Keller broke out in his 5th full season in the NHL in 2021, and since then, over the last 4 seasons, he's always been a 0.9 to 1.1 points per game player, and he's done it on way worse teams than the one he's currently on. His shooting percentage this year is 10.8%. Over the past 4 years, it's 15.1. That's a 4.3% difference. That's significant. Utah's power play is also ranked 25th this year versus 10th best last year, and they started off the season really hot, so we know they can do it. The team has only gotten better since last year, and all the top guys on that team are currently underperforming or injured like Logan Cooley. I expect Keller to easily finish the season with a point per game and around 0.35 power play points, so it's a great time to buy. Disclaimer, Utah does have a 2-game week in the finals, week 23. So the way I would play this is I would acquire Keller for cheap right now, wait for him to heat up, and then flip him near the trade deadline for someone who has a better playoff schedule, but who's way better than who you sent to get him. So in general, like with the playoff schedule, it's scary to acquire a guy with a bad playoff schedule, but if the value's there, you got to take the value and then see what you can do with it. Some targets I've got, Carter Verhaeghe, he was highlighted last week as a sell high. I think that's a no-brainer.
Still
Nazem
sell high.
Kadri, also one of our sell highs from last week. Gabe Vilardi, put a nickel in the Vijardi after this one. But he's been on fire, and I would definitely prefer Keller. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as well. And then Brandon Hagel, I think the injury makes things a bit more murky, but assuming he comes back healthy soon, then I think with how people are playing, you can possibly get Keller plus for Hagel.
Yep. And I still think people value Hagel pretty highly. Like, yeah, the injury is tough, but people are not like, the sentiment that I'm seeing is people are just upset that Florida keeps injuring Hagel as opposed to Hagel keep getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that kind of plays into your favor in terms of like this injury and him maintaining value while being hurt. But like you said, like I think you can get Keller plus. So I would say make it a 2 for 2 if you're giving Brandon Hagel. Get Keller and have that be perceived as like a downgrade from Hagel to Keller, and then that potentially is a long-term upgrade for you, and then also get another upgrade on the side as well. I think that's the best way to play that. But all these targets, I completely agree with them. I think my favorite, if you can flip Verhaeghe or Gabe Vilardi for Keller, I think those are slam dunks. Even Kadri, but I think with Kadri, you can aim maybe slightly higher than a guy like Keller, and I maybe want to use Kadri as a piece in a trade like that. But like nonetheless, if you have to make me choose one guy rest of the season, I'm choosing Clayton Keller. So exactly everything you said, I think his shooting percentage is going to regress. Like, we have enough of a sample size to know how good of a player Keller is for this Utah team and what we can expect for him to do rest of season. And I really want to capitalize on that. And like you said, trade for him now, get him for cheap, and then flip him for an even better asset after that has a better playoff schedule. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, who you got for us?
Let me take a sip of water because I'm about to go on a spiel.
All right, I'm excited for this.
All right. My choice for my week 12 buy low is none other than a guy we touted the whole offseason that if you got on your team, you've probably been pretty happy thus far, but it is Kirill Marchenko of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He was in our league, I think he got drafted in like double-digit rounds.
No, he got drafted in the
Was it
sixth.
9? No, was it 6?
Yeah, he got drafted one
Okay,
pick
so
after I picked Svedge.
yeah, I'm probably thinking of a different league then. But like he went in double-digit rounds in a lot of leagues. I got him in the
Yeah.
14th round in some leagues, which is
That's
pretty
crazy.
nuts because
Yeah.
the Yahoo ADP was just so low. But Marchenko is averaging 0.4 points per game over the last month when he's on the season a 0.9 points per game player. Last season, he showed he can get close to a point per game too. He was at like 0.94, 0.96 last season. His shots are still super great. He's at 3 shots a game, and that has stayed consistent throughout his whole season, even through this last slump. He's still shooting 3 shots a game. The important thing to note, though, is that he did miss time, and Columbus in general has been in a rut that led to this decline. It's like the whole team is kind of struggling right now. They can't win games. They have so many third period chokes. I'm a Jet Greaves owner, and I've felt this like to my core because it feels like every time I'm watching a Columbus game, they're up like 2-1, 3-2, and there's 5 minutes left, and they end up losing like 4-3 in overtime. And it's honestly demoralizing. But what I do love about Marchenko, though, is you're acquiring a very talismanic player. Like we talked about this on I think it was a few episodes ago. It was a hot topic or mailbag episode, and somebody asked us if how many talismanic players are there in the league, and I think there's less than you would expect. Like the talismanic player is not just the best player on the team; it's a guy that like
Kevin's
is crucial.
a big talismanic gatekeeper.
I do gatekeep the talismans. So but Kirill Marchenko is a talismanic player for the Columbus Blue Jackets. And when you can acquire a player like that, it feels like they have such a high that when they're clicking on all cylinders, like the ceiling can be. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going up.
Boat goes up.
But I expect that when he gets up and running again, and there's no doubt in my mind that he will be up and running again, the whole team will be on the come up, and that just gives more success to everybody. And another encouraging sign through this slump is that even though his point production over the last month, guys, that's 30 days, is at 0.4 points per game. Quick math. 0.4. That's abysmal. That means he's not even getting 1
That's
point
worse than
every
like
2
waiver
games.
pickup.
It is. You can stream like 0.7 points production off waivers. So he's at 0.4. And this is a guy that, is shooting a lot, is the best player on his team. He's just not delivering right now. But even when he's at 0.4, his power play production is still there. It's at 0.3, around there. And it's been at that level the whole season. So that tells me it's like, okay, it's not the power play that's the issue, which is already a great foundation to have for a fantasy asset. And it's also like what we're always looking to acquire. We're looking to acquire, power play 1 assets. It's the 5v5 production right now that's really struggling, and they're mixing the line combinations. They're trying to get something that works again. But I think it's just a matter of time until it happens again. Oh, and look who's coming to say hi if you're on YouTube. Little troublemaker. My cat. She has something to say? No, she doesn't. So for all you cat lovers out there. But I think, listen, Marchenko, to finish my point, is very acquirable right now. I think he still has not the stink, but like last year was his first year breaking out. So I feel like people have in the back of their minds, like, was it a 1-year wonder type of thing? Which it clearly is not. We're telling you it's not. But if you could trade guys like, I mean, I don't want to just rehash all the same targets that Josh listed for Keller above, but there's similar types of guys that you're acquiring. High shot volume guys that are hover around point per game. But if you can trade Kadri again, I would love that. Verhaeghe still, we're highlighting Verhaeghe a lot because he is a guy that I want to get off my roster too.
I'm selling so hard.
Guys, when you're listening to this, it's the weekend of December 20th. No, you're listening to this on a Monday, sorry. We're recording this right before Monday. But Matthew Tkachuk is on the verge of coming back. I think he's targeting like a December 28th, I think, is the date that I heard him talk about on this podcast that he wants to come back. That means you have like a few days before we see him practicing in line rushes and everything like that. if you miss this window on Verhage, you're gonna be so upset with yourself.
Let's put it this way. If you're in our Discord, I don't want you to have Verhage by the new year.
Yeah.
And it will come to us. We'll give you, tell us what teams you're targeting. We'll
Oh my
find you the
god.
perfect targets. But I don't want anyone in our Banger Management Discord owning Verhage going into the new year.
Yeah. So I really hope you're able to pull that off. I think Brian Rust is still one of the best guys that you can trade for Marchenko and Brandon Hagel.
Yeah, and you
All
should get
these names, I
Marchenko
think.
Plus for that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been so bad right now, guys. You can get more. So this is a guy that I really want to try to acquire. If he was on a different team in our league of record, I'd be sending offers. But I think the best days might not be right ahead of you, but he's a clear buy low right now, and I want to get him on my team.
Yeah. I mean, like, you think about, like, an example, not the same because Marchenko's a much better player, but you think about a guy who it took a while after the buy low, but then it's picking up now, is Kevin traded for Dorofeyev like
Yep.
a month ago, and
He's been
he was
bad
playing
for a
like
month.
he's playing like a drop for 3 of those weeks, but now he's all of a sudden on the up and up, and
Yep.
that's it. Like, some of these are slow burns, but in the end they pay off. So but Marchenko, I don't expect to take as long as Dorofeyev to turn it around.
And it's also like, yeah, we were highlighting Dorofeyev as a buy low a month ago, and in a lot of leagues, like, he was drop worthy because you're not playing in the deepest of leagues, and he's the worst guy on your roster, and it's been like that for a while. But the thing is, when you're acquiring these buy lows, you're also paying the buy low price.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of trading a guy that's going to be equally as good when the other guy starts bouncing back? Like, you're trying to capitalize on the lower value because you should. Like, the guy is not worth as much. It's not like we're trying to manipulate anybody into being like, oh, like, give him to us for free. Like, he's not producing for your fantasy team. Maybe you need the results right now. Like, so you're offering a fair trade in the moment. It's just that we're expecting the value to go up later. It's like buying a stock and then it blowing up type of thing. I traded Kyle Palmieri and Vince Dunn for Pavel Dorofeyev a month ago. And honestly, Dorofeyev was way worse than Palmieri at the time. Vince Dunn he's been shaky up and down. But it's not like I gave up like massive value to get him. And yeah, he's been on my roster for 3 weeks and he sucked, but now I'm reaping the rewards in this last week where he's popping off again. So
exactly. Okay, let's go to our bonus choice. Since Jakey's not here to make one, we still have to give the viewers what they want, and that's 3 buy lows and 3 sell highs every week.
Yes.
So for our bonus choice buy low, this name I've seen floating around a lot, so I thought it would be important to highlight him.
People want to drop him.
Yeah, we've got Dylan Strome of the Washington Capitals. Over the past month, he's averaging 0.47 points per game and 0.13 power play points. We were just talking about Marchenko at 0.4 and how that's worse than waiver wire production. Same with Dylan Strome. Last year, he was averaging 1 point per game and 0.41 power play points. Strome is the archetype of player that we're not the biggest fans of here on Banger Management. He barely touches any backhats other than face-off wins, so when he's not producing points for you, he's getting straight zeros. Because of this, I wouldn't recommend him as a buy low unless he was so severely underperforming in points. But luckily for us, he's producing less than half the points and power play points that I'd expect him to. His deployment as the line 1 power play 1 center on Washington, the 6th place team in the league right now, is completely locked down. Their power play is currently ranked 29th in the league versus 14th last year, so it can only go up. And Strome should be good for at least 0.8 points per game and 0.25 power play points, with a ceiling of 1 and 0.4 like we saw last year. His floor is 0.8. I don't see any way he finishes under that. Since he's so bad at backhats, on a stretch like this, he's been putting up straight zeros for his owner, so his owner's probably fed up and eager to get him off their team. This is when we pounce. So, look, this is a guy who, doesn't have the value of the backhats. He's not putting up any points. And so you're not going to offer a lot for him. A lot of people want to drop him. But if you can get him for a low price, then it's definitely worth it. So some targets I put, Josh Norris. I know that might upset Kevin, but I think that's a great one. Ryan O'Reilly, we talked about him in our streamers episode the last 2 weeks, over a point per game the past month. And then Brock Nelson has randomly been super hot lately. So I tried to put centers for centers, but yeah, these are all guys that I'd rather have Strome over.
I mean, listen, I feel like the Josh Norris one, I don't know if it's just my bias. Probably my bias influences it a lot because I was the guy that was touting Josh Norris in the offseason, and I held him through his injury because I drafted him in my own league, so I stuck to my guns, and now he's producing like crazy. But if you had to tell me that, who gets more points rest of the season, like from now moving forward, like I feel like I'd have to bet my house on Dylan Strome. I'm not going to bet my house. I don't have a house yet. But wait, that's not true. It's on Zillow, actually. Go take a look. But I do think I love Ryan O'Reilly and Brock Nelson. I think those are perfect targets because I think those are actually feasible. With the sentiment around Dylan Strome, like, guys, people are dropping him.
Yeah,
So
I was really trying to put like low target. I don't want to send anyone serious like for Dylan Strome.
That's the thing. I feel like Josh Norris is like in a vacuum. Maybe Dylan Strome is like slightly better, but I feel you can send less than Josh Norris to get that done. And
you maybe look, if you can promise me that Josh Norris stays healthy rest of the season, I could see an argument that you'd rather have him over Strome.
Yeah.
But with all his risks involved and all that, and even if Norris stays healthy rest of the season, I still see Strome getting more points. What Norris brings is having some back coverage versus Strome who doesn't.
The shots are a big difference, and
sure, yeah.
The power play points could be a big difference too.
But I think with the not like you can ever guarantee health on any of the guys, but with all those question marks and the fact that I already think Strome's going to get more points even if healthy, that's why I'm going Strome over Norris. Look, if you can offer less,
would you do Verhaeghe?
I think you can get Strome plus for Verhaeghe.
Yeah,
and I'd rather have Strome.
Yeah, so I think like right now, like if you own Verhaeghe, and his Strome is not on your waivers, and you're in a deep enough league that he's still the owner's still holding, get Strome plus, make it a 2-for-2 and get 2 upgrades.
Yes, I like that a lot. That's a really good way of looking at it as well. This was like for 1-for-1 guys, but we always prefer 2-for-2s, and that's a great way of putting it. Or if you want to stick with positions, I think if you do Kadri plus someone for Strome plus someone, I think the second person in that trade could be a huge upgrade for you, because the person getting that trade is going to be like, Strome is like, Kadri's way better than Strome.
Yep.
And Kadri has been, I mean, he's a good shot volume guy and all that. Like, so, but if you make that second part of the trade a big upgrade for you, then that's a great trade.
Would you do Fantilli for Strome?
That's tough. I'm pretty high on Fantilli with the deployment, and I feel like he's also kind of a buy low with how bad Columbus has been. But yeah, the tough thing, like, I'm trying to put really kind of like not bottom guys, but like guys who
you don't want
to
pay like that much for him.
That's it, exactly.
Maybe you can flip Stamkos for him.
Yeah, I would love that if you can pull that off. It's not that I don't believe in the Strome turnaround. I obviously do, which is why I put him here. It's more that his value is so low right now. I don't think you should have to pay more than some of these guys.
What about Lundell?
Yeah, I would take Strome. This was one of our would you rathers that we were discussing that you guys disagreed with me a few weeks ago, but I'm definitely taking Strome over Lundell.
Elias Lindholm, that's the last one I'll say.
That's tough.
Josh has Elias Lindholm on his team, so
the playoff schedule is a big aspect of it. And honestly, Boston's power play is kind of unreal. So I think you can get Strome plus, and I wouldn't hate that.
Maybe you can look into that, making that a 2-for-2. I don't know who owns
I could
Strome
look into that. It is the first place team.
Okay, so yeah, maybe they won't be.
He doesn't want to make any trades these days, unfortunately, because I'm trying to flip McDavid for McKinnon. But yeah, all right, that should be our buy lows. Let's get into our sell highs.
I am not happy about this one, Josh.
Yeah, this one is. Look, do I like poking the bear sometimes and antagonizing my co-host?
You do it on purpose. When we do our sell high segment, Josh goes straight to my team and he's like, "Who can I pick from Kevin's team first?" I already know his process.
No, not like this time. It was more like I really wanted a defenseman, so I was just I sorted by defenseman to see who was like performing like crazy. And
I don't disagree.
This name just jumped out at me, so it's just a bonus that I get to get on under Kevin's skin a little bit by picking someone on his team. But yeah, so my sell high for this week is Erik Karlsson of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Listen in on these past month stats because this is unreal. Over the past month, Karlsson's averaging 0.86 points per game, 0.5 power play points per game, and 2.8 shots. To give you some comparison, last year he was at 0.65 points per game, 0.18 power play points, and 2.3 shots. Look, he's been solid all year, but he's been on an absolute tear lately, and you have the opportunity to tear up big here. Pittsburgh's power play is currently ranked 3rd in the league, and they were 6th last year, so this is where they belong. This is not an outlier in terms of how their power play should perform. Karlsson is also the undisputed power play one defenseman on this team, so you're probably wondering why I'm recommending to sell a guy who has amazing deployment and is taking full advantage of it. Firstly, he's averaging 0.5 power play points, which is just completely unsustainable. We've talked about this a lot, but McDavid and McKinnon usually end the season around 0.45 power play points, so I'm never betting anyone's finishing higher than that. Best case, Karlsson should end the season around 0.3 power play points, which is still amazing. But that's a 0.2 power play points per and power play points dip right there. Last year, he was at 0.18 power play points while having the exact same deployment as this year. Pittsburgh is also in an interesting spot in the standings right now. They're 3 points out of being the bottom team in the East, while also being 2 points out of a playoff spot. I think they'll be in the wild card mix for most of the season, but I don't expect them to make the playoffs. if they ever hit a point where they don't think they can make the playoffs, you can expect them to start selling guys like Rickard Rakell, Brian Rust, and possibly even Erik Karlsson. If those other guys go, the team in power play will definitely get worse, and so will Karlsson. If Karlsson goes, it can only be a downgrade on his current deployment, so he will get worse as well. Why worry about this when you can tier up and turn him into a guaranteed stud for the rest of the year? So some targets I'm looking at, Josh Morrissey, Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes, you'd have to do plus, but he's been really bad. And I know the trade shake things up a bit, but he's been really bad over the past month, 0.38 points per game. Roman Yossi, Mo Seider. These are all guys who are like the one here that like you might think is a bit sketchy might be Yossi because of like the injury worry, and he's also like a buy low, but I'm still taking all of these guys over Karlsson. And for some of them, maybe even you can get that person plus. Like Morrissey's been garbage lately, and he's a great buy low. So yeah, I'm curious to think what the Karlsson owner in our league has to say about this.
I mean, listen, as the Karlsson owner in our league, I mean, I love all these targets. I agree.
I'm not aiming low. I'm not underselling what he's doing. You know.
I know. I honestly think you're aiming too high because
really?
I've done my due diligence and I've tried to trade Erik Karlsson for a lot of these names, and I don't want to say he doesn't have the pull that we think he has or that he should have, or that it's just people are not willing to give up these guys for.
Okay, look,
Erik Karlsson.
Quinn Hughes is a stretch. You definitely have to do a decent plus to make that happen. He just has been so bad, but I think the trade hype might make him out of
I think the trade
contention.
Completely takes him away as a buy low.
Yeah, so I think that's fair. Seider is just such a unicorn of like the banger cats that I could see people not wanting to part with him for a guy who doesn't do.
His points have been really like not there. So
yeah, so that's why
there's a window.
There's a window. So, but like those ones I could see you being like, okay, that's a bit of a stretch. But I mean, Morrissey's been really bad. Yossi has so many question marks around him, and Fox is on LTIR. I think these are all achievable.
I tried for Fox. The owner just didn't want to make the swap. I guess he's not in a desperate enough situation that won't happen. But that's not to say that the Fox owner in your league is not as desperate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's very fair, and I think that's very feasible. Given we know that Fox is missing at least another month. Yossi is the one that scares me. Josh Morrissey, I think also like, because I do think Erik Karlsson is going to be better than he was last season. Penguins were a bleep show last season, and this year it looks like they're going into a negative run of form now, and it's kind of bad. But Karlsson is still producing. I do think he'll be better than he was last year, but I still think it's a sell high. Obviously, like nobody's averaging 0.5 points per game for the rest of the season, especially not a defenseman like this.
Yeah.
So I do understand the sell high. Morrissey, I feel like, is the most achievable out of all of these. So I would listen. I'm gonna go send an offer right now after this, so and see if I can make something happen.
I was gonna say, I like pushing your buttons, but I also give you good ideas sometimes, and it's like I'm probably not the best to give my competition some good ideas.
And we talked about it, how like it seems scary in the moment, but it usually pays dividends. Like I'm scared right now. I'm like, man, is Josh Morrissey actually gonna be better than Erik Karlsson? Look like what he's been doing for the last month. You know what I mean? Like he's shooting. It's Erik Karlsson, right? Like he's got. I remember Josh had Erik Karlsson in his roster like 2 years ago, and he was able to flip him for who'd you flip him for?
Draisaitl. Like, I mean, it was a big it was like a 4-for-4 trade, but
he won the Norris like that year too, right?
Yeah.
So
I drafted this exact same as this year because I drafted Karlsson right around where you drafted him this year, which is like super late 50, in the draft. Yeah, and then he started popping off, and I'm like, I have to sell high. No one would take him until I made this big blockbuster trade. That ended up being a big win for me, but Karlsson then just kept being good all season. Yeah. So, but that's the idea, right? Is like, I'm not saying that he's going to be bad, but why take the worry of him, dropping off when you could just convert him into a guaranteed stud?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna try to make trades for Josh Morrissey and Adam Fox myself and see what happens. Roman Yossi, I think, is just personally, I just don't want to.
I mean, we've talked about it in the offseason and stuff that like Yossi has a lot of question marks, and we're kind of not dying.
Also, not the best playoff schedule.
Yeah.
And like, is he even going to be healthy when the playoff schedule happens? Like, Nashville is at the bottom of the roster. They might just shut him down in the last.
I think that's fair.
Weeks.
I think in terms of pure value, I'd rather Yossi, but I think with all the question marks, then I don't blame you for not wanting to send that. I think the two best the targets are the first ones that I put, which was Morrissey and Fox, and then Karlsson. Like if he's still on the Penguins by the playoffs, Penguins do have a really good playoff schedule. But Fox, I prefer the 4-4-4 over a 4-3-5. Just I like the consistency. So yeah.
But yeah, okay, great choice, and I think I think as of right now, all the defensemen, like he's one of the guys that I think is the most overperforming out of.
I literally I wanted to pick a defenseman for this episode, so I go sort by defenseman, and then I sort by points average over the past month, and I'm just like, and I look for the first name that pops out that I'm like, well, this guy doesn't belong this high up on this list, Yeah. And then I saw the power play points, and it's just a no brainer.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, Kevin, who do you got for us?
All right. Well, we're trying to highlight all the positions here to give you guys optimal content. And so I'm going to highlight a goalie. And it might not be the goalie that you're expecting, but it is the goalie that you deserve. Um, I'm talking about, as my sell high candidate for Week 12, Thatcher Demko of the Vancouver Canucks.
Who we
Now,
kind of trashed on our one.
Yeah.
I forget which episode it was, but it was a recent episode.
Yeah, and then he shut out the Rangers. So
Exactly.
against a lot of our listeners, I know people were pissed about that in the Discord. So
Yeah.
alas, we're here talking about him as a sell high. But this one may be tricky because he's only recently been back from injury. Like, he's only played 4 games since he's been back from injury. He's won 3 out of 4 of them, and he shut out the Rangers. So already you're like, okay, like he's been playing really well.
Everyone shuts out the Rangers this year.
It feels like everybody has to get one shutout against the Rangers for the season.
Yeah.
But the other teams that he played, like he played New Jersey, that's very bad right now. He played the Islanders and he played Buffalo. So I'm not saying that all of these teams are, the worst teams in the league, but it's definitely not like the most intimidating competition, let's say. They did lose against Buffalo. That was his first game back. But all that to say, over this stretch of 4 games, he's at 1.35 goals against average, 0.938 save percentage. And if anything, I'm just putting it out there, sell him before he gets hurt again. It's like we never want to say we're baking in too much injury risk with a player. We talk about guys being squishy. You can never predict injuries. It can happen to anybody. But some guys feels like they have a higher likelihood too. We've already seen it with Demko this year and in recent years. He's not the same guy that he was before.
You're not that guy, pal.
Yeah, you're not that guy, pal. So if anything, just trade him before he gets hurt again. But besides that, looking at the numbers, he's still a sell high. And to me, I think that, after this Hughes trade, it feels like Vancouver has no star talent left. It's like Elias Pettersson, and he's not even the same guy that he was as always, right? So this team is, headed in the wrong direction. They're trading for future assets. They're getting young guys. Like, this is a team that's committed to not winning this year, pretty much. And in this last stretch of 4 games, they're winning. And you're holding the goalie on a team that is not going to win many games. He's going to finish at the bottom of the table, and he always gets hurt. So it just feels like a recipe for disaster. And you have a brief window right now, guys. A brief window where Thatcher Demko still has the name pull. It's like when he's doing well, people remember the best days of Thatcher Demko, of like when he was a top 3 fantasy pick for goalies and you have him on your roster and he was killing it for you. Right now, I feel like this is the most positive sentiment people have had over him for the whole year, it feels like. And this is when you capitalize on it and try to trade him.
Yeah.
Because the window is small, I think. The window is small, and as soon as it's shut, it's going to be shut. I don't want to slam on my desk, but slam on the desk and it's shut. He's the type of goalie that I really don't want to own. He's like a UC Saros, where it's just like a guy that, like, UC Saros at least has health on his side.
Yeah.
But I just want him off my roster, and I'm not even aiming too high, guys, because I don't know if you can aim like for the best guys in the league. Even with these numbers, the sample size is still too small. But you could get a Dustal who just got lit up last night, and had a abysmal save percentage. You could probably flip Thatcher Demko for Dustal 1-for-1 potentially in a lot of leagues. You could get Vamelka, who I know has had his own tumultuous season where people have asked if they can drop him, but I do think there's better days ahead for Utah, and he's a very average goalie. And I think Askarov too. I think Askarov, he's just missed a couple games with illnesses and whatnot, and I think San Jose is a team that's going to be competing for the playoffs. I think they're in that mist right now. Celebrini is on fire. I think there's a lot of good with the San Jose situation, Askarov being the main guy there, but he's not performing like he was earlier in the season where he was a sell high. He's still kind of like just a slightly above average goalie. And I think if you can flip a guy that, might not even be healthy for a guy like Askarov, I think you'll be happy with that. So these kind of seem potentially like deeper league trade moves because they're not the highest level of goalies. Like, I'm not saying trade him for a Vasilevsky or whatnot, but I still think this improves your situation.
I absolutely love and agree with everything you said here. I think that you guys have to remember with Vancouver, they traded away Quinn Hughes, right? They're not done selling. Kiefer Sherwood is as good as gone. He just got a hat trick last night. That, hat trick every month is going to be gone from the team.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if, Evander Kane could probably be gone. Not that that's the, biggest loss, but like, like anyone of value on that team is up for grabs, essentially. And they're going to be doing a fire sale. Like the Quinn Hughes trade is like the green light. We are tanking. We're rebuilding. That is the biggest indicator ever that this is what's going to happen. So this is going to be a team that should finish bottom 5 in the league. Demko probably, I don't know how off and on with health he's going to be, but he's not going to be healthy for the rest of the season.
Mhm.
I'm willing to bet my house on it. I'm about to close on a new house. I'm very excited. My first ever
He's
house.
putting
And
it straight
I'm
on
willing
Zillow.
to. I would put it on Zillow to say that Thatcher Demko will not play the rest of the season healthy. Okay, so he's a guy that I don't want on my roster at all. So I know that yes, like Kevin's targets don't seem like the biggest, stars in the game. But we got a comment on one of our YouTube videos that actually I really loved, and I'm glad that people feel this way. But they were saying how we don't put unrealistic targets that obviously it's a win for you, but it's a fleece and it'll just never happen. We put guys that you can actually get that are still going to be wins for you. So I like all of these, and honestly, with how Demko's been and how those guys have been, you can maybe throw in a little plus for you on the return. Make it a 2 for 2, and that look, it has to be a small plus, but you can get a little upgrade as well. So I think I love these very much.
I really wanted to try to find the line of who are the best goalies you can target right now that you would rather over Demko, because there's a lot of goalies that I'd rather over Demko. It doesn't change the fact that he does have quality in him to have games where he'll shut out the Rangers.
For sure, yeah.
But those are just so small compared to the big sample size of the situation in Vancouver and also his own health.
Here's one, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but he's on my team. I would take Dan Vladar over Demko rest of the season. And I think you can get, Vladar
You can aim
plus.
higher. You can aim higher than Vladar. I feel like Vladar is the type of guy that on waivers in most leagues.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that, perceived value, Vladar is so much lower than Demko that if you make that a 2 for 2, you can get a decent upgrade on the other part of the trade. And I'm still happier with the goalie you ended up with.
I really wanted to put Allmark as a target, but he recently got a shutout, so I feel like that just negates the opportunity to buy Allmark. But if that's still possible in your league, because Demko also got a shutout, so maybe negates it and the conversation is actually possible, I would much rather have Allmark. Absolutely. I think Bob too, same situation. We've been talking about Bob.
Good, though.
Bob's been good. He just got a shutout as well. It was a 14 save shutout or something, so it's just so small. But if you can make that because maybe he's been less good over the last month, then maybe that's still possible.
Look,
where do we draw the line, though? Do you think Kemper is achievable? Because Kemper is hurt right now. So
he's been too good all year. I know as the Kemper owner, I wouldn't even even if they told me Kemper's out for a month. He can't hurt.
Maybe you can make it a 2 for 2 when you're giving another kind of lateral move-ish.
Yeah. Look, you can't hurt to try, but I know as a Kemper owner, I'm very happy with him. Obviously, the injury sucks, but he's letting in 2 goals a game max every game, so I just don't think it's achievable.
Would you rather Dustin Wolf or Spencer Knight? Because Wolf is kind of in a similar situation where he's a great goalie, he's on a bad team, but Calgary's winning more games than Vancouver.
Look, I'd take Knight over Demko for sure. Not that I think Chicago's that good of a team or anything. I see them as similar tier, but Chicago actually I view as slightly better than Vancouver rest of season outlook. And Knight's been good, and he doesn't have the injury issues. So Knight, I feel comfortable taking over Demko. And Wolf, I think Calgary's could be worse than Vancouver. They're also going to sell. Kadri's gone, as Anderson's gone. So I'd be the same, but again, you can use the health as the scale at a tip. They're both skilled goalies, so I would take Wolf over Demko. Really, I'd say there's 2 categories of sell highs that we talk about. There's the category the Erik Karlsson, where you're still going to be happy having him on your team all year, but you can tier up, so take advantage. And then there's the category of when we mentioned John Carlson, or we talked about Malkin at the start of the year, we talked about some of these guys, or so Demko is in that category of I want Carter Verhaeghe, I want this guy off my team, so that's why we're willing to aim, if you get someone back that you're happy to hold all season, even if it's not the flashiest name, I'm viewing that as a win.
Can I tempt you with a Joey Decord?
I would take Decord over Demko. So
I think that's feasible right now with how Decord's been. And you're not worried about Decord splitting starts the whole rest of the year?
No. It sucks right now, but his competition's Philip Grubauer and Matt Murray. That's I as the Decord owner, it really sucks right now. But honestly, if it takes them splitting starts for him to increase his quality and then get his game back, and then they start bringing it back to him, then yeah, no, I'm not too worried about it.
Okay, last name Jacob Markstrom.
That's a great one. I'm still going Markstrom.
Really?
Look, it's not
people
he doesn't
don't
have
like
injury.
Markstrom right now, and listen, we understand it's been bad.
Absolutely. There's a reason that I didn't put him as a.
He's going to be better.
Yeah, I didn't put him as a buy low because I'm not iron. I know for a fact he's gonna be sick this year. I like being certain about these before I put them down. But he can't get worse. New Jersey has brighter days ahead, and yeah, I would take him over Demko easy.
My favorite target, though, I think is Dostal, because I think he's one of the most achievable, especially after he just got lit up, guys. He literally just got lit up. I love trading for a goalie right after he got lit up.
Yeah, that's the best. That's actually the best because like
Yeah.
the play like he probably in a lot of leagues the guy got him like negative points or whatever
Yeah.
like that, and you're sitting there like, why is this guy on my roster if he's
Yeah.
getting me negative points?
Make
And
it a two
so
for
you,
two. I think that's the perfect one to make it a 2 for 2 where you're getting an upgraded for the skater and you're like, all right, listen, I'll help you out. I'll take dust
yeah,
off your hands. You take Demko. So
absolutely, that's great. All right, Kevin, take us to the bonus choice to round us out.
yeah. So the bonus, the third sell high this week for week 12 of the fantasy season is a guy that I feel like we highlighted earlier on in the season, like in maybe the first 3 weeks. But it's a guy that I love. I picked him up in his rookie year, and I rode that wave. But we're talking about Matt Boldy of the Minnesota Wild. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. Matt Boldy is an excellent fantasy hockey player and real life
Category
hockey
one
player.
of the two categories of sell highs.
Yes. So listen, I'm not saying get him off your roster. I'm saying you have an opportunity to tier up once again. He's the type of player that I think is a perfect entry point into like that superstar elite stratosphere of fantasy talent that we talk about, like all the first round picks, the second round picks that are some there that was not in English, but you know what I mean. But he's the perfect guy that like I feel like he was drafted in round 3, 4 of most leagues, and you can tier up to like the threshold of the tier break of like the round 1, round 2 guys. Because he's been nothing short of elite for your fantasy team right now. He's still hovering over 3.2 shots a game, which is elite in itself, and I expect that to be consistent rest of season. Like he's always a shooter, he will be a shooter. But over the last 2 weeks, he's at 1.71 points per game, almost 2 points per game. And over the month, he's at 1.33. Now listen, last year he's at 0.9 points per game. So I expect him this year to be better than last year. The situation is better. He's leveling up as a player. I can expect like a point per game or 1.1. That's still a far cry far from 1.7 that he's doing right now over the last 2 weeks, and even 1.3. But I think you can really get a first round talent type of player because he has the name pull, he has the sample size of being excellent, and when people open the game log and they see what he's been doing, it's elite right now. So I think it's the perfect opportunity to sell. And I also think Minnesota has a subpar playoff schedule, so as an extra bonus, you might be upgrading there, and I think that's always a win. And if you're doing like a 2 for 2 trade or, targeting one of those elite guys, I think Matt Boldy, even if you have to do like a 2 for 1, I think Matt Boldy does most of the heavy lifting in that trade because it's like, okay, Boldy's doing way better than the guy I'm offering, but I know he's like doing a little bit more. So how about I throw in a sweetener of like a Ryan O'Reilly or something and get that deal done type of thing? You know what I mean? Because I think right
Yeah,
now you
I
can
love
target
that.
like a Jack Eichel, who is currently really sick. Like it's not an injury, he's just really sick and he's missing games. I think you can target Jack Hughes, who is might not be available right after we publish this episode, but when he comes back, you're gonna be laughing if you have Jack Hughes on your roster and you can afford to lose Matt Boldy.
Yeah.
I think Matthew Tkachuk. Listen, this is a brief window, so as you're listening to this and you have Matt Boldy, try to go make this happen ASAP because Matthew Tkachuk is going to be back late December. We're posting this on December 22nd, so you'll have maybe a week of a chance to do this boldly for Kachuk. And I think Austin Matthews, I think, is still attainable. And you're not getting the playoff upgrade there with Austin Matthews, but I think you're getting more shots and you're getting just a more elite, well-rounded player that in bangers leagues as well, he's going to get you a lot of blocks. So
Yeah.
I think all of these guys are tiered up. And listen, I'm not talking about scrubs here. I'm talking about some of the best players in the whole league that are great for fantasy. So I love to do a
Yeah.
trade like this.
I love everything you're saying. This reminds me a lot of our Jason Robertson recommendation from 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
I think
the
it was
same
like
thing.
almost the exact same points per game, and look how that's turned out so far,
Yeah.
right? Like this is not a guy you're desperate to get off your team, but this is a guy who's just performing so incredibly well that you have the chance to tier up.
Yep.
I love all the targets. I love these like Eichel, Hughes type of guy, Kachuk, guys who are like right around the corner of injury, but have been injured for a bit. Well, not Hughes, but I mean, not Eichel, but the other two. And like, so like people are like, oh, he's been out for so long. What has he done for me? And even though they're right around the corner, you can still bank on that perceived lower value. So I love that. Matthews is still a huge buy low. In terms of the playoff schedule, it may be the same number of games, but Toronto has 3 off nights, which are really important, like with how the schedule shakes out there. So it's still a win at playoff schedule. So yeah, no, I love all these targets.
I wanted to add Nylander as a target as well. I wanted to know how you felt about that because you're not getting the upgrade, and I think you can aim higher than Nylander, so I'd want to aim higher than Nylander. But let's say these guys are not available in your league or not possible. Like, would you do that Nylander for Boldy?
Honestly, I like when we were recommending Robertson like 2 weeks ago and we're recommending Boldy now, like I need a top tier, pretty much no questions asked or questions asked, but they're like a top 5 pick like Matthews in return. So I'm actually not doing that for Nylander, not because I don't believe in him as a buy low, but look, Nylander let's say he tops out at like 1.2 points per game, 3 shots, something like that. Boldy, I can easily see being 1.2 points per game.
And the power play
more
is probably
shots
going
than
to be
that,
better.
power play. So yeah, no, I wouldn't do Boldy for Nylander, but I like all the targets you put.
Nice.
All right, so that wraps up our buy low, sell high. Another absolute banger of an episode for Banger Management, if I do say so ourselves. This is just a great weekly episode. I think it's so valuable to people that I love it.
I love it so much. It's my favorite thing to record, like I always say. And I think it's one of the ones that probably gives the most value for people too. Like,
yeah, I mean, look, literally, we record this, and I immediately go on Fantasy and start sending out offers based on who we talked about.
I go straight to the Discord, and I'm just like, after the episode goes live on Monday, people listen to the episode, they come into the Discord, and they're just like, I heard your episode, I have this guy on my roster, I want to make a trade, like, who do you think I can target, like, on this guy's team or whatever?
Yeah, and, I love that.
Listen,
we make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. We're listing a lot of targets here so we can do a lot of the heavy lifting, but sometimes, you just want to target different guys that are, part of a bigger trade, and you want to trade with the guys that are lower on the standings in your roster because you have more leverage there, and it's just logical, it makes sense. So, yeah, a lot of good trades to be done, and I think I'm looking forward to the 2-week update in 2 weeks from now when looking back at these guys and seeing how they've changed. Because I can guarantee Matt Boldy's not going to be at 1.7 points per game at that point. So,
yeah,
well, we might be looking back and being like, I told you so again. So,
yeah,
hopefully we're able to say that, but in a friendly way.
Yeah.
All right. So if you guys really made it this far, we sincerely appreciate it, guys. All the support means a lot. We're not going to go through the whole shebang again, but please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're listening to this on a podcasting platform right now and just the audio, just open the app, click the follow button for the Banger Management Podcast. We really appreciate it. And listen, if it's been a few episodes that you're listening to and you really like what you hear, leave us a 5-star rating. It actually means a lot. On YouTube, if you're watching this, like the YouTube's starting to get a lot of traction right now, so that's pretty fun. But leave a like. That helps a lot. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like, so all the time new episodes come live, you're notified.
And get in the comments. I love seeing comments.
We've been getting more comments lately. It's actually fun. Like people are dropping their trade questions and whatnot. And we've been getting some positive feedback, so that's also fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, on that note, take it away, Erne.
Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Wow, wow, wow. Woo!
Wow, wow, wow. I can't believe you got me again.
You sound exactly like Jakey.
I know.
We have to always mention him so that people don't forget him.
Remember, yeah, exactly. He's just out going to get like milk and cigarettes. He'll be back,